Today's episode is brought to you by Modern Grower. Modern Grower is your source for time and labor-saving farm tools, such as the Paper Pot Transplanter, Quick Click Seeder, and the Jang Direct Seeder. Turn laborsome tasks into free time with tools by Modern Grower.
Right off the bat, one of the things that I found really interesting is that, at least within this sort of small scale agriculture, organic vegetable production space, and flowers for that matter, that there seems to be a lot of um, sort of energy and work centered around kind of New England and the northeast part of the United States. Yet you do serve all 50 states and you're working all over the country. Um, and I'd kind of like to understand a little bit more, sort of how having a seed company based out of Vermont can still grow extremely like effective, productive varieties for, Georgia or California or any of the other places that you guys sell to.
Yeah, it's a great question. Though we started as a small company that focused on growing our own seed, producing our own seed, and giving away, and then evolved into selling our own seed, we have evolved into diversifying the pathways in which we um, attain seed and distribute seed. So we work with a variety of producers in that way. And so seed is actually the seed that we offer is from all over. It's not specifically from Vermont, which is a common misconception. I think that particularly the energy around New England and the seed movement, that's so clearly represented there was kind of a product of the back to the land
Mhm.
movements. And that happened all over, but for whatever reason, seemed to really take hold in seed in the New England area. And I think that's also can be said of the Pacific Northwest, that there are quite a few regional seed companies in the PNW as well that have that sort of um, origins in back to the land movements. Yeah, but to go back to the pathways that exist in which we source seed, I think this is like one of the most important things for growers to understand. And I say that like as a grower myself, it's something I didn't really have any knowledge of when I was working on farms, but knowing where your seed comes from and why varieties come in and out of
Mhm.
catalogs and availability and inventory, it is this much larger web of what is happening behind the seeds, behind the scenes.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
um, but and there's like a wealth of information in every single catalog, but most of the time when as growers, we're just like looking for the new stuff or you're just circling the really pretty ones.
Mhm.
And we're missing some of the really crucial information that is there in the write-ups and kind of like between the lines. Um, so if you don't mind, I can go into like kind of what those pathways are.
Yeah, absolutely. Please go for
Sure.
it.
So we kind of have four main pathways in which we source seed and like bring like varietal material into the catalog. Um, so one of those pathways is known as vendor breeders. We work with vendor breeders, which is kind of also known as seed companies. So a lot of these larger companies that are oftentimes based in the Netherlands or in Europe that have breeding hubs all over the world. So they're actually doing a lot of the breeding trials, and then we're able to bring in their material and offer it in digestible sizes for small scale growers. So that's one of the largest pathways. Also, public breeding programs. So that's like working with land grant universities who are doing selections on varieties year over year. We will work with them to give feedback on varietal selections and then move things into larger productions and make them available. We also work with participatory breeding groups. So these are groups like Organic Seed Alliance. They're kind
Mhm.
of like regional uh, regional organizations that use organizing and collaboration to influence seed development. And then, of course, farmer breeders, like people who are working on their own selections on their farms and have stabilized a breeding population, and then we are able to offer that in the catalog.
Awesome. So it sounds like that. I mean, at any given moment, you could be pulling seed from, theoretically, like different parts of the world, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the things that is becoming more and more important and that we have been talking about more and more is the value that exists in diversifying where we're getting seed, but also making sure that we are being able to meet everybody's needs.
Mhm.
We're in such a need for resilient seed varieties because of climate change that having things that are grown in the southeast are incredibly important and valuable to the folks who are growing food in the south and the southeast. And
Yeah.
so one of the things that we have done over the past handful of years has really increased our contract growing department. And so right now we have about 148 of our 700 varieties that are grown via contract for production. And so those are happening throughout the US, and really gaining a lot of popularity for a lot of farmers as well as they want to diversify their income or explore farm production in a different way. Yeah.
And by the time that seed comes to you, when it's various, channels of getting to you, now is that like a finished product, like it's ready to go, or is there still processing that's required on High Mowing's end, or is it more just like take it, sort of divvy it out into the various sizes for packages, and then it gets kind of warehoused and then shipped out?
Yeah, so we always I think the hope is that it comes as clean as it could
Mm,
possibly be, which is pretty challenging depending on the scale and the resources that people have access to. Like seed cleaning tools are there's a pretty broad spectrum, especially for small scale farms. It could be as simple as like a tarp and a box fan and a bucket. Um, and then there are things that are amazing, like the Winnow Wizard, which, is a really cool tool, but still, not something that anybody can buy. I mean, anyone could buy it, but you
yeah.
really have to be able to make it worth your while. So the hope is that it comes to High Mowing fairly clean. We do have some resources in terms of like referring folks regionally to other people who may help with that process. And then we have, of course, our own tools and quality control that we use on site. And then we'll take that bulk, whatever we've cleaned up, and pack it up, and distribute.
Hey there! Tired of spending forever seeding nursery trays by hand? Meet the Quick Click Drop Seeder. It makes seeding trays super fast. Just a click and you're done. You can seed multiple trays in no time, making your nursery work way easier. Plus, it works with paper pot trays, microgreens, and any other tray that you have. Say goodbye to tedious seeding and hello to more time on the farm. Join hundreds of other farmers and try the Quick Click Seeder today. Available at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.